The Tarlair Lido was once a bustling recreation area lying to the east of Macduff in Banffenbuchen in Aberdeenshire. Abandoned in the 1990s, today works are being carried out for future generations to enjoy the three pools: the paddling pond, the swimming pool and the boating pond, as well as a tea room cum pavilion. The boating pond was D-shaped and was an unusual addition to the Lido, with the small paddling pool being rectangular in shape and enclosing a rocky outcrop. The swimming pool, which is beside the sea, was also rectangular, sitting to the north of the boating pond. Its wall was built slightly lower than the high tide level, so the water was changed twice a day. In the late summer of 1930, contractor Messrs Robert Morrison and Sons of Macduff offered over £12,500 for the construction of a sea wall for the swimming pool, which was accepted by the Borough Council. At the time, it was highly fashionable to meet at outdoor pools, especially by the sea. Sluice valves for the pond, costing £26, were also purchased by the council, and construction of the pond began shortly after this. By January 1931, part of the retaining wall at the Loch Craig site had been completed, even though the contractor faced terrible winter weather conditions, which affected the northeast that year. The cost was estimated at £1,300. By April, the construction of the pools was well underway. Original estimates for the completed project was £4,000, but this didn't deter the town council or the enthusiastic local businessmen who formed themselves into a committee. The whole town was behind the scheme, not only for their own benefit, but also for those out with the area who would come and use the facility. Unfortunately, the pool wasn't ready in time for that summer season, although some locals did use it for the first time, and the council could give no firm dates as to when it would be finished. The borough architect and surveyor, John C. Miller, assured the council that the scheme was at an important stage, but they decided that a site survey of another pool in the south of Scotland would be beneficial to see how things could move forward. Finally, in the summer of 1932, the pool opened to the public. Its first swimming gala was held on Thursday 21st July in front of a crowd of an estimated 3,000 people, even though the work was still incomplete. In March 1933, at a council meeting, a suggestion was made for changing rooms at Tarlair by Councillor Gordon. It had also been suggested the year before that railway carriages could be used until a more permanent solution was found, but now he'd received a favourable offer to provide 20 wooden changing rooms in 5 blocks of 4 at reasonable cost. He suggested the council go ahead with these and consider building concrete cubicles when finances allowed. The matter was passed on to the Amenities Committee. Bathing boxes were erected, as was a concrete platform at one end of the pool, but still the complex wasn't complete by January 1934. In the summer of that year, the swimming gala had to be postponed when the pumping operations broke down and the pool couldn't be filled in time. By December 1934, plans had been drawn up for the construction of a new tea room at Tarlair, with the old one being demolished, and cubicles at the west end of the pool were in the process of being designed by the architect. Construction of the Art Deco tea room was set at £1,200, while the cubicles were to cost roughly £800. Snowcrete was also to be laid at the bottom of the pool. By this stage, the terracing round the paddling pool was practically completed. On 25th January 1935, the council invited tenders for the construction of the tea room and the changing rooms at the West End, which were both to be built in reinforced concrete. The contractors were expected to carry out all the work involved, including construction, plumbing, joinery work, plastering and painting. 6 months later, the improvement works were almost finished. A terrace 15 feet wide with 2 platforms was constructed on the landward side at an estimated cost of £245. The pondmaster, Christian Pedersen, a noted Aberdeen swimmer who doubled as a swimming instructor, and the assistant pondmaster were both busy working on the pond to get it ready by the middle of June, while the contractors were pushing forward with general improvements, including the new paddling pool for children. Fees were set at £3 per person entering the pool, although there were special terms for local clubs from Turriff, Macduff and Banff. The pavilion and tea room had been completed and was being painted white, in readiness for 15th June. £50 had been allocated to furnish it, and the changing rooms, which had been moved to a higher position following a gale on 4th April, were completed. The car park was also being improved, with each car or motorbike parking there to be charged 6p, and in all, 50 to 60 men were working on the site, 7 days a week. In addition, there were diving boards, chutes and springboards, as well as boats and chutes for the children's pool. A cashier and car park attendant were also employed at the site. One bone of contention with some was the pool's Sunday opening hours. It was available from 8 in the morning until 6 at night, but in May 1935, Councillor Hall proposed it be closed between 10:30 and 12:30 to allow bathers to attend church. Provost McQueen, however, told him the hours were fixed and wouldn't be changed. Besides, changing them wouldn't make any difference to churchgoers. Much of the work carried out at Tarlair was through fundraising schemes, unemployed men's labour and public grants, and in all the project cost around £11,000 by the time it was finished in 1935. The town council had to borrow £7,000, which was paid back from the revenue of pool users. In 1940, during World War II, evacuee children billeted with families who had a family ticket for the Lido were allowed to swim in it at no extra cost. However, in 1941, bathing during the summer season was prohibited, but that didn't stop the children swimming in it and having fun, much to the annoyance of the town council. Youngsters were also seen playing on the flat roof of the tea room. 3 children were involved in accidents at the Lido that summer. The result of that was a watchman was employed to keep an eye out for any would-be trespassers. In February 1943, the town was devastated to learn that the first pondmaster, Pedersen, who spent the winter months working at an engineering firm in Macduff, died, aged 36. The Lido proved to be a huge success, which continued for decades, with kiosks and a fence being added. With the coming of cheaper foreign holidays, however, and warm indoor pools, its popularity began to wane, and by the mid-1990s, the site was abandoned and fell into disrepair. Between 1985 and 1994, it was used as an open-air concert venue where the likes of Runrig and Wet 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 played to large crowds, thanks to it being a natural amphitheatre. The tea room closed in 1996. A study was carried out in 2010 to see if it was viable to restore the Lido and make it a tourist attraction. In June 2013, the council approved a £300,000 programme of essential works to be carried out, following its reprieve that January, when the idea of filling in some of the pools was dismissed. In 2012, the Save Tarlair group was formed, and 2 years later became the Friends of Tarlair community group. It's thanks to their tenacity and the generosity of the public that today work is being carried out to restore it. The restored tea room will house a cafe, a community area and a workshop, with the pools being restored at a later date. On 6 February 2007, the Tarlair Lido was Category A listed by Historic Environment Scotland. According to Dr. Debbie Mays, their Inspector of Historic Buildings, it was especially interesting due to its simple but stylish Art Deco design that had pretty much remained unchanged over the years. She went on, the complex is also important because it is an early one and because it included a boating pool. It is one of only 3 Art Deco Lidos surviving in Scotland, the others being at Gourock and Stonehaven. With the rise in the popularity of wild swimming, it's sure to prove a popular attraction. If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.